Hey there, friends. Good morning. It is day 312 and it is 4:52 a.m. and we are about to get started. Just waiting for the stream to start on my computer. There we go. Here we are. 4:52 a.m. How are you doing this Tuesday morning? I'm doing all right. I slept well. I will also say that I feel slightly under the weather, you know, that feeling where you have caught something but you're not sick or ill yet, but you might become ill any one of the days. Bit of a scratchy throat. You can notice that my body is having somewhat of a harder time facing realities. But hey, nothing bad's going to happen. We will survive. It is a fresh autumn morning and we're going to do some mobility and core work this morning. Nothing fancy, nothing crazy. Just going to check in with our bodies and see how we're moving and make sure that we're moving solidly and well for the rest of the day. For those of you who are just dropping in to watch, my name's Toby. Good morning. I am, or good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. I am 40 years old and I train to live an active, self-sufficient, and adventurous life. And not only now, but hopefully well into my 80s, 90s, and who knows, I might even live to be 100. Now, the reason I'm so vested in this is a couple of reasons. First of all, I've understood that I might, barring any unforeseen circumstances, live to be reasonably old. But becoming reasonably old also means that you might spend the last 5 or 10 years of your life in pain and suffering. Poor man's Jim, good morning, Toby. Good morning, poor man's Jim. Thanks for dropping by and saying hi. I hope you're doing well. And I've seen some great videos. Thanks for putting up the one about the kettlebell. Amazing. I enjoyed watching that. I might grow to be relatively old, but the final years of life might be fraught with disease and discomfort. There are ways to head that off, and one of the ways I intend to head that off is by living a healthy life, but also working on my strength, my conditioning, and my mobility, so that I can keep using my body in the later stages of life. So I focus on my sleep, 7 to 9 hours a night. I focus on what I eat. I eat relatively healthy, home-cooked, also a bit more protein than I think is available in the average diet. Nothing crazy, but between 120 and 150 grams every day. I work on my strength training, conditioning training, and on my mobility. Can't hear me too well. All right, well, let's hope that if I speak a bit louder, then maybe you can hear me a bit better. It's a different microphone, so I get all kinds of issues for having to change microphone until my other one comes back. Is this slightly better? You let me know in the chat if it is slightly better or not. I hope so. Otherwise, there's still one more setting that I can change, but I'm not too fond of changing this one here. This should be a lot louder without me having to raise my voice. So like I said, I mind my sleep, I mind my nutrition, I mind my strength training, conditioning training, and mobility. That being said, this is about the way I feel, not about the way I look. That has a lot to do with the fact that I am maybe 40 years old and relatively settled in life. But I also feel that chasing health and longevity is going to help me achieve a whole bunch of health and fitness goals in the time that I have available to me. Evalis, good morning, my friend. Thank you for dropping by as well and saying hi. It's nice to know you and Poor Man's Gym are watching and are here today. And again, if the sound has or hasn't improved, you just let me know in the chat, so that I can either start to speak up or just switch out the sound altogether. And also, this is about the way I feel, not about the way I look. And I think pursuing several health and fitness goals just is going to allow me to both lose a bit of weight, look a little bit different, get a little bit stronger, have more endurance, and be prepared for whatever life throws at me. So, but everyone has different fitness goals at different stages and times in their life, and health and fitness is uniquely and very personal. So whatever you're working on, I hope that you're working on something that you enjoy, that you're learning something, and that you're picking up habits that are sustainable for your health in the long term. Sounds better. All right, good. So maybe I need to change the input on the receiver because it's a different microphone. This one picks up a little bit less volume, maybe. So let's see. I'm glad to hear that it's better. Thanks for letting me know. We're good just the way we are. We've got to love ourselves before we can move on. And I always say that because I sometimes hear stories about people who feel they need to punish themselves or be really hard on themselves or fail at trying to reach a simple goal. But I don't think that is the healthiest and most sustainable approach to living a long, healthy, active, and self-sufficient life. I think if we're a bit kind to ourselves, we can go further because it's the person we are today who's going to get us to where we want to be tomorrow. And I think we need to remember that whenever we set out to do something and we fail or it doesn't work out the way we want it to, that we have an opportunity to learn something, and that change and also seeing results takes time. This is not a one-shot game. This is not a competition in the moment. This is something that we're going to try to do for life, and life is a very long time, I can tell you. Sometimes I think, well, am I really going to be doing this 40 years from now? I don't know. I'm going to be doing something related to my health and fitness for sure, but I don't know if it will be this. But subscribe to my channel and find out in 40 years if I'm still streaming every morning. Subscribe to my channel anyways, so you can find out if I'm still streaming tomorrow. But a bit of kindness today probably will go a long way in where we want to get in life. Just keep that in mind. That being said, friends, the only way to get anything done is by showing up and doing the work. So it is now 4:48 a.m. where I'm at, which is in Amsterdam. I'm going to turn on the timer and we're going to get started with the mobility and core training. Bruno, oi. Does that mean you're from Brazil, or from Latin America, or just saying oi this morning? Wherever you are dialing in from, thank you for dropping by, and I hope you're doing well where you are in the world. And I appreciate you taking the time to say hello. So like I said, I'm going to turn on the timer. We're going to get started. By the way, Poor Man's Gym, if you're still here, what kind of dog do you have? Because I heard one barking in the background on the video. Big one, small one. Any breed I might know. And Evalis, how's life over in the East? I hope you're doing all right. And that you are well today at work, I believe, or on your commute, if I'm not mistaken. All right, breathing. Going to breathe in. All right, and the neck. There we go. Now I can hear a little Jack waking up, but it's way too early. So his mom's going to put him back to sleep. But with that time change, daylight savings time, you just notice that for kids as well, like it wreaks havoc on everyone's schedule, and not in a good way for my gym, because really kind of, oh wow, amazing. Is that because you like that kind of breed, or is that because it's functional for where you live and work? That's cool. Yeah, we're just, by the way, starting off simple and easy mobility exercises this morning, which, if you have an office job, the last 4 things I've done, the breathing, the neck, the W, and the stretching, reaching up and picking apples from a tree, so to speak, are all things you can do without actually having to leave your desk. You can do them sitting, or you can stand up from your desk and do them. It will probably help you feel a bit better. So hey, by the way, my new long form video is out, like 3 minutes. We talk a bit about some of the challenges we might face in trying to make some changes. And I'm just wondering, if you want to drop by and take a look at that video, let me know what you think about it. Whoever is watching, maybe that's a reason for you to subscribe to my channel. Because we're turning a new page this week, and starting next week. And to put out videos that are going to help us discover and build the habits that are hopefully going to help us lead healthier lives in 2025, because it's the season where we are going to start creating New Year's resolutions. People are going to talk about it. And like I explained yesterday and the day before, New Year's resolutions are a natural part of life, I think, with a new year, with the rise, I think it's called the equinox, where the sun dips to its lowest point and then begins to rise again to its highest point. We start to make new plans, new energy. Bro, Pete Savchenko. Hey Pete, thanks for dropping by. I'm not sure what that means. What does God Cake mean? Let me know. Donna Chamberlain. Thank you for dropping by. And of course, Puffin, I appreciate you saying hi and being back this morning. I hope you're doing well where you are in the world. So like I was saying about the New Year's resolutions, is that we set too complex, too difficult, too abstract of goals without understanding how the structures of our life and the skills we have, or the level of skill we have in the big three areas of living healthier, actually might affect our ability to succeed, which leads to us abandoning such New Year's resolutions without actually having given them a chance of succeeding. Sometimes we get lucky and stars align a little bit, and by luck or circumstance a new habit sticks. It usually snowballs into a couple of more habits. But that is the exception, not the rule. Now, what we're interested in is figuring out the rule instead of being the exception. And over the next 4 weeks, I'm going to hand you the keys to the magic of change. All right? All you need to do is subscribe and watch my videos. Am I now becoming a real YouTuber? Then I'm creating a hook and not answering it for 7 videos. Now, I'll talk about this in this video as well, don't worry, so just keep watching. We're going to talk about making that lasting change. And I'm going to give you 4 relatively simple examples in the next 4 weeks of small changes, behavior changes, that will provide a window into how you can make bigger and lasting changes in life. So the thing is, if you're able to make those 4 small changes, and only make those 4 changes, brute force them into your life through discipline, but actually use them to discover some insights about the structures in your life and the level of skill you have in terms of sleep, in terms of nutrition, in terms of exercise, you're going to see that come January of 2025, it's going to be so much easier to make some bigger changes that'll have more impact. Because regardless of what media and influencers would want you to believe, it is relatively straightforward. Any change in nutrition and exercise pattern is going to lead to a different result if you're able to do it consistently over a longer period of time. And over a longer period of time, I mean, the ideal case, it just becomes the way you live right now as a habit. An extended period of time is 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year. Okay, and you know, I know what I'm talking about, because been at this for 312 days, right? You've been watching me and following along with me. So you know that I've been able to successfully make some changes in my life that have allowed me to successfully lead or work on my health and fitness goal 2024. So it's not impossible, but it does require time and willingness to learn. So just keep that in mind, friends, as we approach the new year. I'm going to continue with hip mobility in a moment. You show up every time. Oh, well, Buffin, that's pretty cool, actually, right? Yeah, I guess that's the difference in time zones, but I appreciate that, and I'm glad to hear that I am in your after gym routine right about when you get home. And yeah, my day starting is 5:13 a.m. now here in Amsterdam, and I'm glad to hear that. And thanks for coming back and watching every time you see me pop up. You could also just scroll by, so I appreciate that. YouTube Punk, how's it going? It's good to see you. Thanks for dropping by, and thanks for leaving a comment on my latest video. I appreciate that. I'm glad to know that the notifications are working, and I'm also glad to know that you watched it and found it useful. So thanks for that. Korea, good morning. Good to hear from you. I hope you're doing all right where you are in the world, and I hope you're having a good start of the day as well. And thanks for dropping by again. Let's see, my friend. How are you doing? Philanthropist Cheyenne, I don't know who that is. But my friend and philanthropist, thank you both for dropping by, and I hope you're doing well where you are in the world. And I appreciate you saying hi in the chat and dropping by and saying hello. We're talking about the real drivers of change, specifically since it is the end of the year and probably a lot of us are going to want to make some slight changes, probably related to health and fitness in 2025. So I'm going to continue talking about that for a bit, because I promise you I'm going to give you the 4 keys to change, is that right, in the next 4 weeks. But they're actually relatively simple if you understand how to do what I'm going to talk about next. It's going to be very easy and very possible for you to make changes, not only for health and fitness, but if you need to improve the output you're creating at work, if you want to change the way you approach a relationship with someone, whether that is professionally or privately, whether there's something else that you want to learn in life, a skill or a degree. There are many applications, because all of them require us to behave differently from how we behave day to day, because we're doing something new, right? So if you find this kind of stuff interesting, if you find my morning routine and my workouts interesting, if you're interested in kettlebell, go ahead, subscribe to my channel, and we can continue this conversation over the course of 2025. Because this is just the beginning, right? Especially if we're making a lifelong commitment to living more healthy and becoming fitter on our own terms, then sticking with me and coming with me, working out every day or checking in with me might help you get started or be consistent on your journey, because that is one of the hardest things to do. All right, so there are a couple of things that I want you to consider before we start talking about making the change. And that is one, do you feel that you get to decide how you work on your health, how and when you work on your health? Why is that important? Well, that's important because as human beings, we enjoy being in control, having a sense of decision, of I want to use a different word than control, having a sense of charge of the direction our life takes, of what we do, the actions we take. But sometimes, I feel we're not in control. Maybe somebody else, maybe a doctor has decided for us, or is forcing us to go on a regime, or maybe we feel we don't have the time, the mental space, or the skills to actually invest into that. So just think about that question for a second. And it could be yes, no. You could also say, well, on a scale from 1 to 5, do I feel that I get to decide how to work on my health and fitness? The second one you could ask yourself is, well, when it comes to my health and fitness, I know and have, maybe not even I know, I have the ability to make the changes I need to make to actually be able to work on my health and fitness. And there's room for growth. Try something. My friend, thank you for saying that and for being active on the chat. And I also couldn't do that 6 months ago. So there you go. With some time and practice and dedication, I was able to learn how to do it, barring anything. I'm not a physiotherapist or personal trainer in that sense for you here on the channel, but I'd say it is definitely possible to learn how to do that and to improve the mobility of our bodies. Naz, hey Naz, thanks for dropping by and saying hi. I appreciate you dropping a comment on one of my earlier videos. And I hope you're doing well where you are in the world today, and that you're having a good start of the day. My day is just starting, and I hope that your day is going to be good as well. So yeah, let's see. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so you feel you have the skills to work on your health and fitness. And again, this could be a yes or no answer, or this could be a scale of 1 to 5. It's like, well, I don't know. Maybe some, but not all, like sleep, nutrition, exercise, are all skills, right? There are other ones as well. And the third question I'd like you to think about is, well, my environment, my friends, the people who care about me is probably the most neutral way to put it. are supportive of my health and fitness goals. So you start with those three questions to kind of give yourself a key or an understanding of what your starting point is on this journey. And once you answered those questions, we can begin to look at some more fundamental underlying issues. The first one is, okay, whatever the circumstances you are, whether you get to decide whether you feel you have your skills and whether the people around you are supportive, what is your goal? What are you chasing? What are you after? And there could be many different things, right? I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday who is going to compete in high rocks with his partner, for example. That is currently his goal and has been his goal for a year now. I think that's a great driver for change for the year up until that competition. But then after the high rocks meet, there's still a lot of life that needs to be lived, right? So what are we going to do then? But that is a very fair and valid goal with a set time period and an achievement attached to the end of it. So that's one way of approaching it. My approach is, well, what is my goal? Well, I want to be free of discomfort and disease as I get older. I want to be able to be self-sufficient, run through the airport to catch my plane with a little suitcase, be able to stow the suitcase overhead, play with my children, be able to get down on the floor, get back up again comfortably. There are many things that I would like to be able to continue doing as I grow older, right? Those are my goals. I would like to feel fit and competent throughout my life. All right, good. So that is a goal. The goal for me is to show up every day and do at least 30 minutes of any kind of workout, whether that's strength, conditioning, or mobility, running, pull-ups, push-ups, kettlebells, doesn't matter, but the more tangible goal is that I show up every day and challenge myself physically. So now we have two things rolled into one, right? Maybe you also see the difference in the goals. Okay, why is it important to me? It's the next question. Right? And I know this sounds a bit trite, and maybe you've heard all of this before. And I can tell you, if you start to think about these things now, you're probably going to be in a lot different mind frame and position when you get to January and are trying to make a change in life. Right, I'm just going to have to walk off, mute the microphone, and see if everything's all right. Sounds like one of the kids coming down, and he's been ill. I'll be right back. Hello, back again. There we are. Little man is all good. Hi, Korea. Thanks for asking. Yeah, it's a nasty virus that's going around, so there's not a lot we can do about it except wait for it to go away. But the coughing will wake him up, and in that case, I don't mind that he's up at 5:30 because the coughing is painful, and there's not a lot he can do about it. So he can sit and watch cartoons and, you know, that makes him happy. He's miserable enough like that. Sometimes that is what it is. Like I said at the start, I also feel slightly under the weather. So there's this thing that's going around, and I think we're just going to have to go through it. The youngest one had it a couple of weeks ago. And it's part of growing up, makes our immune system stronger, so to speak. Yeah, you'll be fine. I appreciate you all asking and caring so much. I think the good vibes will reach him and maybe help him recover quicker. So yeah, there are always a couple of challenges with that. We have an agreement in the house, especially with children. Social media, first of all, they don't get to be on social media. They get relatively little screen time on phones and other devices. But more importantly, we also don't show them on social media. And we don't make them a part of our social media efforts because they have no choice. They don't really understand what privacy is. So trying to bring them up to be able to make their own kinds of decisions about what they do and do not want to share in the world. But knowing that I get up in the mornings and make videos, for example, drives them to want to make videos and photos. It's quite cute, actually. So yeah. And now my friend, I'm really curious. Korea, of course, on the internet, people can say anything. But I'm wondering if congratulations are in order or not, or if my friend's just slightly trolling us here. But let us know if you want to let us know or not. I know that's also very personal, so you don't have to share, but I can tell. I remember when I was getting married, it was one of the most exciting years and slightly stressful years of my life. Very happy memories of that day. So like I was saying before, let's see, we were talking about making the changes, right? We were talking about the 3 questions. Then we were talking about the goals. And we were talking about the why. Why do we care? Why is it important? You know, and I think for me, the goal of working out every day, the goal of doing something for 30 minutes every day, right? The goal of being healthy and fit in general, and then the behavior of showing up and training every day. It's very much related to the fact that I want to live that long, healthy, and active life. Nothing gives me more joy than, for example, when we were out in the mountains this summer. And in the mountains, I had to carry my children in one of those backpacks on the mountain trails. And we could for hours on end, because I'm in good shape, strong and healthy. And that means they had a good time, but it also means I had a good time while we were doing that, right? So just keep that in mind, that the level of health and fitness in life, mobility, but also ability, very much impacts and influences the experience we have of the things that we do. That's why that's important, because they had a good time. They're going to feel loved and appreciated. I had a good time, and I love seeing them having a good time. So just keep that in mind. When it comes to answering the why question, for me it's not about the way I look. It's about feeling competent and capable, feeling strong and fit. So the things that life throws at me, at least physically, should be quite able to deal with them. And confidence, I guess, is a part of that equation as well. Also means that we're barring any kind of minor aches that start to haunt us as we pass that threshold of 40. Sorry, fact of life. Whoever you are. Okay, that's what I thought. But I appreciate the banter on the chat. And I'm glad I checked. And by the way, I got married in my mid-30s. So we should choose a time and place in life that matches where we are and where we want to be, for sure. 100%. 100%. All right. So let's try to keep the chat welcoming and open to everyone. Let's continue the conversation on making those changes. All right. So we've talked about the goal and started to put some thought into the purpose, driving it, the why. Now, we're going to ask ourselves two more questions. We're going to look at, first of all, the environment we live in, the structure of our life, the routines that exist, the demands. What do I mean by that? We're going to look at what does our day look like? And probably work days differ somewhat from weekends or days off. But in general, what does our routine look like? What does our week look like? What time do we wake up? What do we need to do? What time do we need to be out of the house? What time do we get back? How much time do we have before we need to get to sleep? And what are all of the things that we cannot skip doing? Because they are part of living in this society. Things like cooking, working, eating, showering, grocery shopping, spending time with friends. If we have children, spending time with children, raising them, picking them up from school, commutes. There are many factors and demands on our time that determine the structure of our lives. All right. So I want to just paint not a rosy picture, but a realistic and accurate picture of what we actually can expect from a day and from a week. But it's not only the demands on our time, it's also the people in our life. Who do we have in our life, and are they on the same health and fitness journey as we are or not? Will they be supportive? We talked about this as one of the 3 questions of what you're trying to do. And by supportive, we don't just mean saying, oh yeah, you go for it. Because when you start changing, for example, your sleeping pattern by going to bed a bit earlier, are they going to be willing to turn down the volume on the TV, just to give you an idea? Or if you want to eat differently, then what is the standard fare in your social space? Okay, is that acceptable? Is that going to be possible? Is that an economic reality? Is that possible from a skill point of view, from a time point of view? Right? Are you dependent on somebody else who makes your meals? So you want to think about that in structure as well. It's not just what time you get up, what time you go to school or to work. But it's also what time, the time and energy other people are willing to invest in your goals. The structure of your life. The structure in your life that you want to consider. Okay? So we thought about that now. Now let's think about some other things. Let's think about the skills. And let's pick one. Let's pick the skill of sleeping. Now you're going to look at me through your screen and say, Tobe, the skill of sleeping, are you crazy? Sleeping isn't a skill. Oh yes, it is. And it's a very interesting skill because we don't consider it a skill. But sleeping, if you think about it, is a skill that has many different components. For example, sleeping space management. Do you have a quiet, dedicated space for sleeping? Do you keep it tidy and clean and welcoming so that when you get there, you start to trigger the associations with a good night's rest. And because you start to trigger those associations, you are then able to fall asleep better, for example. So there's the skill of maintaining a healthy sleeping space. But there's also the skill of winding down. And my unwinding already starts at 3 p.m. at the latest when I have my last cup of coffee. That is a habit related very much to my desire to be able to fall asleep 5 or 6 hours later. So those are just 2 examples of the skill of sleeping that I want you to consider. As we go through this process of defining skills related to our health goals. All right? So just keep that in mind as we plan for the new year, is that every goal can be broken down into the structure of our life, but also the skill we have in actually behaving successfully towards that goal. So when we try to get healthy and fit through a New Year's resolution, we usually default to that one activity and skill that we think is the driver of health and fitness, and that is exercise. But if you're not eating well, and if you're not sleeping well, then getting fit and healthy is just an illusion. All right? So we need to break down different skills and learn different things to get to where we want to be. And that's what we'll be talking about for the next 4 weeks. So if that's something you find interesting, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. And we will probably get back to a point where the live stream doesn't get interrupted every morning. But if it does, that also shows the challenges of getting fit and healthy in your 40s when you have family commitments that you need to see to. All right, friends? So, that's quite challenging. We're going to do one more exercise for core in a moment. Then we're going to be done because it is 5:52. I think with the interruption, we've gone on a bit longer than intended, but I think it's been a good morning. I think we had a lot to talk about this morning, and I think I'm happy to have been able to spend this time with you, friends. So the final core exercise is going from 4 supports to 3 supports and maintaining stability. Whew. And that's it for the day, friends. There we go. All right. Thanks for dropping by and watching, first of all. And thanks for being interested in what I'm talking about in terms of making changes. Just working out with the kettlebells. Don't worry, the kettlebells aren't going to go anywhere. We're going to keep working out with the kettlebells for a long time. What would you say? Some conscious things and some focus on consistent daily habits. Don't miss. Enjoy the rest of your day. Korea, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And you have a good day as well. And I look forward to seeing you in the next stream. And don't let anyone tie you down, as you said yourself. All right, you have a good day. Thanks for dropping by. Make me smile, YouTube punk. We're done. That's right. And for everyone else, my name is Toby. I'm 40 years old. I train to live an active, self-sufficient and adventurous life. Not only now, but hopefully up until I'm 80, 90, maybe even 100. I train by focusing on my sleep, my nutrition, my strength training, conditioning training, and mobility. Today we did mobility and core, so you've seen that. Drop by for other streams or videos if you want more information about my life and my lifestyle. This is about the way I feel, not about the way I look. And I always like to remind us that whatever fitness journey we're on, we've got to love ourselves before we can move on. We're good just the way we are, and it's the person we are today who's going to get us to where we want to be tomorrow. Like I said a couple of times, I'm working on a series of videos that are going to help us make small changes and understand how to make bigger changes regarding our health and fitness with 2025 right around the corner. If that's something you're interested in, go ahead, subscribe to my channel. And I look forward to seeing you in my next stream. And YouTube Punk Korea, my friend, Evalis, Poor Man's Gym, thank you all for dropping by, puffing, and saying hi. And I wish you all a good day. And remember, Jay Lucas, thanks for dropping by and saying hi. I hope you're well where you are in the world. The only way to get anything done, friends, is by showing up and doing the work. So I'll see you in my next video. Take care.